Hey guys, so it's Yogi Doug Johnson here, and I'm back with another talk. And remember that if you enjoy these talks, please give me a thumbs up. If you enjoy spiritual talks, you enjoy power yoga, yin yoga, yoga nidra, kirtan, spiritually related content, please subscribe to the channel. And if this brings up a question for you or you have a perspective to share, please do that in the comments below. So today's talk may not be a very long one, but I wanted to talk about pain. And what I wanted to share with you is a different perspective on pain than you may have had. I can't say for certain because we all perhaps have a different idea about pain, but I wanted to share a perspective that pain is not something simply to be avoided, but it's something to be paid attention to. So this applies to psychological pain, and it also applies sometimes to physical pain, but there can be physical pain that we simply want to avoid, right? So putting your hand in a fire is going to be painful. It's painful because you should avoid it. It's as simple as that. You're just damaging your hand. So I'm not telling you to go do something that is, dangerous and that's somehow going to be spiritual. Okay, so I want to be very clear about that. But what most of us are going to find is as we go through our life, as we go through our day, certain circumstances will arise that are painful. Someone will say something to us that causes us to feel pain. Someone will do something, maybe we don't get invited to a party, or someone does not reply to our text when we expect them to or want them to. Perhaps we don't get a promotion that we think we deserve, and we feel pain. Now, I think I don't know if it's instinctive or if this is something that we learn culturally or just most people do it without thinking about it, but we often just try and avoid those situations. So again, let's say we have a parent who is they don't make us feel good, we feel bad. Maybe they're trying to help us, but they end up criticizing us. Then we might simply try and avoid that situation. If we work someplace and we feel undervalued, again, we might quit. And I'm not saying any of these things are the wrong thing to do. This isn't so much about your actions as it is about what internal work you're doing. So my experience of our true nature is it is loving awareness. It is unmanifest joy and peace. And the idea of fear or pain doesn't really enter in. And so in my experience, when we're feeling pain, when we're experiencing anything like that, that is really a signal to pay attention. So what if every time we feel psychological or emotional pain, instead of simply trying to avoid the situation that caused that pain, and again, we may need to avoid a situation, okay? If a situation is unhealthy for us, if it is damaging, we may need to avoid it. So I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. But regardless, what we want to do is pay attention to the fact that we were experiencing psychological pain, and we want to investigate. And the best way to do this is through meditation. And again, there's some meditation instruction here on the channel. I'll probably do another one again soon. Every time I give the instruction, it is different. So it's helpful to hear the instruction several different times. But it's through meditation. And through meditation, we can do a deeper investigation of why we're experiencing this pain. Now, when I say why, I'm not really suggesting that we try and psychoanalyze our experience. Like, we do a self-psychoanalysis. Oh, I'm insecure because my mother didn't compliment me enough, or I'm insecure because my father left when I was 5. That's not really what I'm asking you to do. One, you're probably going to be wrong about why you're feeling what you're feeling. And two, it just isn't very helpful. I know that maybe in some schools of psychotherapy or psychology, you might be encouraged to confront someone who made you feel less than accepted or something like that. I find that is of very little value in my teaching. So rather, we want to confront the feeling itself. If we're feeling psychological pain, we're probably coming from a place of fear, a place of lack. We feel that we lack love and acceptance, and that may very well be true. The fact of the matter is, spiritually speaking, it's not other people's responsibility to love and accept us. That's really our job. So when another person reflects back to us our own lack of self-love and self-acceptance, that is usually what is painful. If someone tells us something and we don't believe it, then usually that's not painful. Someone can say, oh, you're a selfish jerk. And if we don't actually really believe that about ourselves, we might be wondering, I wonder why this person said that. Why would they say such a nasty thing? They must be in pain themselves, or they must have misunderstood me, something like that. When we don't believe in our own self-worth and we don't have self-love and we believe these things, we usually are defensive instead. So I mentioned earlier about leaving certain relationships, and again, sometimes that's necessary. And what I try and encourage students to do is we leave with love. So if a situation really is dangerous, if it's a situation that we need to get out of, we can still leave with the gratitude and appreciation for all the things we learned through that relationship, even if it's that we learned that we should stay away from relationships like that. I would be careful about making those kinds of judgments, because I find that often in life, situations that might look similar actually are not. And I find that very often patterns that are harmful, we are very often blind to them. So ironically, we might tell ourselves, well, I'm never going to fall in love again because I got hurt falling in love. Well, I'm sorry, I think you're going to have a very shallow experience of life unless you allow yourself to fall in love. On the other hand, we might always, quote unquote, fall in love with someone who doesn't treat us the right way and is abusive, and that this is a pattern that is harmful. So the problem isn't really falling in love, but actually the type of person that we are drawing into our lives. So anyway, again, I hope that this is something that you can use in your meditation, but also just throughout your daily life. When pain, psychological pain arises, instead of simply trying to avoid the situation or run away from the situation that caused the pain, which again may be necessary in the short run, or even in the long run, can you slow down? And again, usually in meditation would be when you would do this. Can you slow down and begin to take a look at the pain more closely? Not to psychoanalyze it. We're not trying to explain why do I have this pain, but really to look directly at the pain. And there are a few techniques that I can teach you how to do that, and I might do that in another video. One is sort of stepping back away from the pain, and the other is actually diving into it. And these two techniques are generally the best way to work with our emotions from a yogic perspective. This is what allows us to, over time, dissolve the negative habit patterns that we all tend to have, the reactionary patterns that we have to, again, getting hurt, feeling that we lack love. And as those patterns are dissolved, what happens increasingly is over time we experience the innate, true, peaceful, loving nature that is our fundamental ground of our being. That really is beyond words. I use words like love and peace and joy to try and communicate something that really is transcendent. So this is what we want to experience, and this is what doing this work allows us to experience. Maybe not immediately, and depending on how many layers of emotional garbage, for lack of a better way of putting it, that we have on top of our true nature, then we have to work our way through that. And that's how we do that. Exactly what I'm describing to you today. Painful situation comes up. Instead of blaming the situation or another person for how we feel, instead of simply trying to avoid the pain, we stop and we notice, that made me very uncomfortable. I'm suffering now. We stop, we notice that, and then we begin to examine it more closely in our meditation. All right, everyone, I hope that was helpful. Again, if you enjoyed this, please give me the old thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already for more content like this and yoga classes, videos, please subscribe, kirtan, things of that nature. And if this brought up any questions or you have want to share a story, similar situation, please do that in the comments below. All right, everyone, thanks so much for listening. Namaste.